All right, let's go.
We have
here we go.
4 minutes.
Welcome
To the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast.
This is how
Episode
professional we are.
Number
Okay, you go, Tyler.
60.
What's that?
9?
It was 9. You're right.
I thought it was 69.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 69 of the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. We have another special guest. So, Kristin, thanks for coming. We appreciate you flying all the way here from California just to do this podcast. That's the
Oh, I
only
thought
reason.
you came from England. I thought. No? Oh, okay.
No.
She's definitely a California girl.
Okay.
So, Kristin, thanks for coming. We've somehow managed to do this, I feel like, way longer than I would have ever expected, because I just was scheduling them out. And obviously, I think we're scheduled out until like July now. So if you're hearing this and it's July, then I was right. If not, then I was wrong. But
We're scheduled out that far, so we have to do one for a while.
yeah, we can just stop recording. I mean, we have
Thank
one more
goodness.
next week.
Oh, yeah. We might do 2.
We have 2 next week, so we'll be scheduled out pretty far. But anyways, that's it for you as well. We'll be out in July, so we'll talk about this. But anyways, Kristin's out here. We have rap classes the rest of this week. Today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have rap class. If you listen to this and you like what Kristin has to say, we have 4 or 5 more of these classes the rest of the year. So look at our website and sign up if you want to come take a class. So Kristin, if you want to just give an intro, who you are, how long you've been in the industry, and kind of how you got into this business in the first place.
All right. So my name is Kristin Lanzarone. I run a business, WrapStar Pro, in Sacramento, California. Completely startup. I went to school to be a police officer and got a degree in criminal justice. By the time I was getting hired on with the police department, all new officers were cut. So I had to go back to the drawing board. In the background, I had a media marketing business in motorsports, and that's what kind of led into doing wraps a couple years later. Got my first printer and just started sticking vinyl. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out. So fast forward, this is my 14th year, and it's just a really great industry. I love everybody about it. I love, training students and, perfecting their craft and installation. So.
Perfect. So the question we try and ask all of our guests, but we fail at pretty regularly because we forget to mention it. But you travel a lot to do these trainings and shows and all that kind of stuff. So where is your favorite place to eat or your favorite food in general to eat?
So coming from California, it's Mexican food.
Okay.
I can eat Mexican food like every day, all day long if I can. So when I come out this way, I'm like, where is a good Mexican restaurant? And I always want to know, like, is it just as good as like California Mexican food? Because we're, getting closer to the Mexican border that we get from Baja and stuff. But that's my favorite food.
All right. So the question is,
you are in
if we're
luck
going to go to
that-
Mexican,
yeah, okay.
I'm going to ask it.
It's the same
So
question.
if you order a burrito, do you get ground beef with it or do you get steak?
I'm a big taco person.
Okay. So so you don't like burritos.
So what kind
No,
So
I
you
like burritos.
What do you like on your tacos? That's going to be the question.
So I usually just go for like the white meat, like chicken, and
Okay.
it's got to be shredded. So
See, she knows
chicken
what she's talking
tacos.
about.
I like the. So there's a little side of me where I joke a lot. So when I go to these Hispanic restaurants, they don't speak English very well, and I like to kind of make people feel a little nervous. So I usually will order like a corn taco. So I go, can I get a hard corn taco? And everybody's like, what did you just say? And I'm all, just taco. It's a hard corn taco or a soft corn,
Corn.
Yeah.
Not
corn.
flour, corn.
Not, yeah.
Do you get the double corn?
Well, if they're street tacos, yeah.
Yeah. See, she knows what she's eating.
Yeah.
I get tacos too. Like they're not very expensive at Taco Bell either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's authentic.
You can get 12 of them.
Authentic.
Yeah.
That's
Mexican.
not authentic. They say
Mexican
run to the
food.
border. They're saying run away from the border on that one.
So,
Yeah, you can get 12 of them for like $15.
That's true.
I could usually get them all down too.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Run to the bathroom too.
Worth it. Worth it.
So we are lucky here that we do have a good amount of.
There are
Authentic
some very
Mexican food.
authentic here, and there's definitely some.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I might have to ask you which ones because I was looking last night.
Well, where we're
Which one?
going, you're going to get probably patted down. It's that bad of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's not
Okay.
good.
Okay.
But it's good food.
As long as they're chip salsa, and that's all that matters, right?
True. That's true. So
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't. You have family that has the restaurant.
I was going to say
10 minutes from here.
Well, normally when we go to the restaurant, it's called the Big Nasty.
Okay.
And it's a burrito with steak. It has chicken. It has ground beef. It has beans. It has rice. It's all in one. Yeah.
That's
It's
like a
called the
meal for more than one person.
Yeah, my wife bought.
No, I
a
can get one and a
burrito.
half
It's
of them
big.
done.
Yeah,
I probably get one and a half.
depends on the person's size.
it's very filling. It's 3 meals, but
It does feel
Yeah.
like that is on the border though of authentic versus.
it's really
American.
kind of Tex-Mex, to be honest with
yeah,
you.
that's where I feel.
But that's
Yeah.
good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're glad we
Sorry
got
about that
question out of the
tangent,
way.
but
Now I'm going to have to hit Taco Bell for lunch.
you are. Are you hungry?
or you can go to Maggie's Kitchen on Bridge. That's authentic.
All right. Well, so Kristin, you obviously have a little bit of a background in training. So the first question I want to ask is kind of in the day and age right now of YouTube and TikTok and every possible training videos available to watch. Why do you think in-person training is still important?
I think it's that one-on-one, hands-on, right in front of you, working with an instructor is one of the most important things. I didn't have that when I started. I mean, back then was the Wrap Institute just started. So like getting to see those kind of videos, but they were almost like European-based cars. And I was like, but I'm looking for a Chevy Express van. That rear corner before the rear door is like, it's that hard, spot right above or just underneath the brake light. So definitely in-person training is really important just because like if you say, hey, like I'm struggling in this certain type of area or navigating a corner, can you show me? And then working alongside a student really helps a lot.
Yeah. The thing I've been telling people lately too is, so the Wrap Institute is great, right? They have a video for just about everything, it seems like right now. But I say, so they obviously are very big on the training through videos, right? Mm-hmm. But also Justin still does in-person trainings.
Yeah,
right?
which
So
is amazing.
He's doing all of that and is still realizes, hey, there's an importance of getting in front of somebody and showing them these things. I think there is a way in the current age for people to learn it through whatever videos they can watch. I think it's doable. The problem is I think you may not know mistakes that you're making, right? You may think you're doing everything right for the longest time and then realize that you've been doing it wrong or not perfect the whole time. So
yeah,
I think that's huge. If you think about somebody, the biggest guy that I know that's into training over video is still doing in-person trainings. So
it speaks volumes right there.
to the
Yeah, I mean,
importance
it's
of
the
it.
same thing. It's like I'm always, Googling how to remove this type of door handle or whatever, just because we don't do a whole lot of color changes. So, the commercial lines, we get it. But once every now and then we'll do a color change. We're like, okay, don't over tighten the screw or, just certain things that you don't really learn in the videos that is important in person.
Yeah. There's almost like a certain like mechanics background that you need somebody with that background to understand some of them, especially on some of the newer cars. It seems like where there's sensors plugged in. Everything is electronic now, right? So it's not like you're just unscrewing a doorknob, right? Everything is hooked up together. So it's a whole mess.
Yeah, I know somebody that actually did one of our vans and broke a handle, and we couldn't get that fixed for a while. I don't know who.
Me neither.
Remember we wrapped over the molding to keep the molding on too?
Yeah, on the mirror.
On the mirror. So
We broke both clips at the training.
Oh,
we
no.
broke one taking it off, and then we broke the second one putting it back on. And so then there was no clips at all. And we're like,
just
well,
wrap it.
Yeah, we're like, well, we got to drive it back home. Like, what am I supposed to do? So we wrapped over it.
And then up on the windshield. So you got wrap up on the windshield, and it stayed that way forever.
And we did not fix it for a very long time. So yeah, have extra clips on hand. That's my tip for you.
Tips and tricks. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, clips. Make sure you don't lose the seals for the door handles.
It's like duct tape though. As long as you have vinyl, you can get anything back on the car.
It's like a Band-Aid.
A big Band-Aid.
Yeah.
On one of the classes, it was the same thing. We didn't have all the parts we needed to put the door handle back on, so we just wrapped over the whole door handle. And we're like, well, at least for now, no water will get in, so we'll be okay.
Wow.
So I don't recommend that. I'm just telling you, if you got in that situation, you could.
That's why we don't do that for a living.
Yeah, this is why we do the trainings.
So going back to your mechanics mindset, I think that's really important because like when I came from the motorsports industry, I used to build race cars. So like actually help in the fabrication process of like late models and modifieds, circle track, asphalt ones. So learning how to use like Bondo and knowing tools and how to use the tools correctly and all that kind of stuff, and keeping your bolts and everything in an area you don't lose them. Like from the race car world, like I had a Bondo like the sprint car fuel cells because they would dent them, and then they're like, well, we don't like the dent anymore, so I would literally just fill it in with Bondo and then try to make sure the vinyl would stick by putting a sealer over it. But having that mindset is really critical, I believe, for installers, because when they come into the shop and they need to remove a door handle, they don't know what they're doing. It's really important to understand like tools. What kind of tools are they? Torx, is the Allens? Like they don't know that jargon. It's kind of like the one that's a little star bolt on. Like, look, like how do you explain that? But those are very important things to know as an installer.
That's why I'm not good. Like my brother is like full on mechanic type. They have a late model. My nephew drives it. Me, I don't even change my own oil because I probably screw that up. So probably I'm not like, check your oil. I can't check my oil. You can pull into a place that does that. So yeah, my brother's side of my brother, that side of the family got all the mechanic stuff. I didn't get it.
Yeah. So the other question I want to ask, what are some of the big differences that you notice from someone who's self-taught versus somebody who's gone through like a traditional training or even like certification?
So I think there's a couple of groups of that type. So you have the ones that are mechanically inclined. They know how to fix things. That I feel like those individuals do really well on their own on self-taught. And then you have the ones that just want to install, like, I just want to put it on, but they struggle. They understand that, like the wrinkles and the bubbles and stuff. And then you have the female group, which they're very like, they understand and they're detail oriented and they want to make sure that they have one chance to put it on. It's right. So with the individuals that are self-taught, I've seen all over the place. I think it's a great thing, but the only downfall is if they've, developed a bad habit, it's going to stick with them for a while. I used to call them the YouTubers installers. And then like, I would ask literally in a hiring process for installers who want to work for me, like, hey, so where do you get your training from? Or how did you get started? Or they just worked at a sign shop or a wrap shop, and that's where they got their training from. But if they didn't physically work at a wrap shop, I would ask a little bit more questions. Well, how did you get in this? What did you do? Did you just wrap your car, your friend's car? So one of those ones that are like, oh, I just, installed in my friend's garage on their car. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then they say they build a business doing color change. I'm like, that's fine. So if you're business minded, we should somewhat think alike, right? Yeah. So I had this one installer one time. He goes, oh, I'm like, yeah, I do all these color changes. I don't have a shop. I just use like a storage unit. And I'm like, okay. All right, cool. So I always ask the question on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being higher, 1 being low, where do you see yourself ranked as an installer? And they always come in high. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. So they're like, oh, he's like, I'm an 8. I was like, okay, well, I could throw you in the wolves. You should know what you're doing, right? Yeah, totally. And I'm like, all right, cool. We did that, came back, and I was like, oh, you're kind of struggling on this area or, whatever. But I use that as leverage to figure out where they're at. And so when they're a business owner's color change and stuff, I go, okay, well, this doesn't fly. Like, would you let that fly in your little shop or whatever, like for your client? And like, well, no. I said, well, so you have that same business mindset. You should think the same as my shop as well. So I always use that as leverage. But that's kind of when they go, oh, wow, yeah, because I am working for you. I'm just going to pretend it's like my job. Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you think the new installers or ones that haven't been proper trained, what are some of the common mistakes they make that I think they don't realize that they're making when they're wrapping a vehicle?
Definitely cutting is the biggest one. They think it's okay to cut on the car, or they have like, some roundabout way on how to do it. Cut, drop. And I'm like, whoa, but you're still cutting the car. That doesn't make any sense, But generally I like to try to ask them like what made you think that this is an acceptable way of cutting? And then just kind of let them speak up. Because I want to know where they're coming from and or how are they taught? Maybe they came from another shop and that's how they did it. And you're like, okay, that's completely, bad habit. Let me show you this and then say why this one doesn't work as well. And so once you play, that mindset with them, then after that, they're like, okay, got it.
Yeah, we the one we always joke about here, who made a sticker on it and gave it out at WrapsCon last year, was the YouTube certified in the heat and mash. That's the one I always like when you realize someone, like when they're trying to do a complex corner and they just heat it and stretch that thing as far as you can, be like, I mean, it's down now. Today it's down. Tomorrow that might be different. But,
Exactly.
But I think like even some of the ones you see like on social media where you watch them do it and you're like, I mean, it's just not going to hold. Like, sure, by the time you pull it outside and take pictures, yeah, it looks great. But
Exactly.
tomorrow, is it going to look good? Next week, you know, when it rains and gets cold 2 weeks from now, is it going to look good? No, I don't. Probably not, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And but I think if you're doing some of these smaller jobs or you're doing the clients that they're kind of aimed towards, they may not have any idea, right? They may not be coming back and saying like, hey, it's wrinkling here, or it's peeling, coming back on the edges, or the corners are rolling in. You're like, if nobody says anything, you're just thinking, yeah, I've been doing it great for 5 years. And you'd be like, no, you've been doing it bad for 5 years. It doesn't make it doesn't make it 5 years of bad experiences is not the same as 5 years of any good experience, right?
Can you not swing your hands at my...
Well, stop flinching.
Like,
I'm not going to hit you.
I mean, I had
I'm like scared and stuff over here. Like,
I think the challenges that I see.
Between you guys.
yeah, what's going on over here? I can't get up. This wall's got me stopped over here.
I guess the question I have for you is that, is it, do you see yourself trying to break bad habits of somebody, and does it work? Does it not work? Do you feel that there's certain individuals that, you know what, no matter how I tell it or explain it, they're just not going to break that habit?
I think there's individuals in all of those categories. So, you know, launching Master Wrap last year, we get the beginners and intermediate installers. A lot of them are very willing to be open.
Good.
And to learn. I've had a few last year. I was like, I don't know if they're going to make it. Like, they really want to be on the industry so bad, but if they can't just be open-minded and just listen and actually take it all in and go home and use that, they're not going to survive.
Yeah, we have the same thing here with some employees.
Listen, that's why I can't be a trainer, because I'd be like, listen, stupid, you're doing it wrong. Well, I learned this way. Well, that person's an idiot too. So that's why, there'd be people going home crying.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, my dad taught me.
Yeah. You for sure run into this where I've seen it. The one I see it the most is when you have a shop will send 2 installers, right? So they'll send their guy that's been doing it for, 10 years. Be like, yeah, I've been wrapping cars for like 10 years. And then they'll send their new guy. And by the end of the training, the new guy will be further along than the guy that's been doing it for 10 years, because the guy that's been doing it for 10 years took the whole training and he didn't learn a single thing. Like, he just kept thinking like,
on his way.
His way is better.
This is how I do it. And then you get to the end and you'll be like, well, this isn't going to work. Like, I mean, we can physically see it. Like, we always joke when we do the vans in the class that, like, if you do the channels improperly, frequently in the class, when you come back the next day, it will have already popped. Like, that's how fast you can see the signs that you did it wrong. And so you'll have somebody who thinks they know what they're doing and be like, oh, sure. Yeah. You want to try and do the channels? Go ahead. And then the next day we'll be like, okay, today we're going to start. Let's go look at the van. And you walk around and be like, I'm not going to call anybody out here. This is what we talked about on day one, right?
We point out, this is the guy that said he knows how to do it right here in the class. And this is his result.
Raise your hand if you did this. No, but
yeah, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. You're not paying attention again, but this is still you. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like the proof in the wrap industry. That's kind of what I love about it, is it's so obvious, right? Like, when there's somebody who's really good at it, like it shows, especially over time, right? When they've been doing it a few years, like it just shows. Everything shows. Their customers will tell you about it. Other installers will tell you about it. Like, everyone kind of knows what's going on. So that's kind of what I love about it in terms of the people that claim to be good, and then everyone else will be like, oh no, I would never go. I would never send a car there. I would never refer somebody over there, even if I couldn't do it myself.
Well, sometimes we got to be the bad guy too, because we don't want bad wraps out there, because then the more bad wraps there are, the more people that don't want to do it.
Right.
So, like, there's times where you have to go into the shop and say, hey, look, start doing it right. You're hurting the entire industry.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff you're putting out is terrible. And they might get mad at you for a little bit, but the reality is you can't have, I mean, we take pictures of everything on the road. That's like, it's a bad one. And then it's usually it's usually a certain brand. every time. We just assume it's a certain brand.
Yeah, usually
It's one of our competitors. Private label. We figure it's that brand every time that it's failed.
It's got to be.
Man.
So
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I just want to take a minute to talk about Nakusa, the name behind our tape. Our tape's the #1 application tape out there, but they are more than just tape now. Nakusa has a full range of products out there. Their new one is called NextBond. This is a UV cured adhesive. Why does that matter? It's an eco-friendly and durable option, but comparable to most of the eco-friendly options, this is a cost-effective product. So if you're looking for an eco-friendly product or a durable product or just in general a good vinyl, NextBond is going to be the one for you. This is available at Wensco.com as well as all of their other products. So check it out at Wensco or reach out if you have any questions. Oh, and don't forget to use your Nakusa bucks. Have you heard about Metamark? Metamark is a company that sells premium graphic solutions for commercial and fleet signage. So whether that's walls or it's vehicles or it's tables or doors, we loved it so much we put it all over the podcast studio. So you can check it out on our videos or at Wensco.com.
I mean, did I send you the Starbucks sign at the hotel? The hotel's like 6 months old, and the Starbucks sign was all peeled. The entire thing was
I
peeled
didn't
up.
realize it was a new.
It was a brand new hotel, so that sign couldn't have been up for more than 6 months. Inside, completely peeled.
It doesn't make any sense, but.
So I would say one thing. I was doing a training for Oracle, and we had this one student. And usually, what I like to do is like, okay, if I see one that is like, he's got his ego, fine. We always say check your ego at the door, but this one didn't. And so usually, what I'll do is I'll show the station, and I'll work with them. And then they go on and they practice, right? So when they practice, you're doing everything wrong, like not what I told you, which is fine. So I let them struggle for a reason, because I want them to sit there and go, okay, well, maybe I didn't listen to what, she was saying or something or whatever. And so then like he came over, he's like, actually, I was on the other side of the car doing the same demonstration for another group of students. And then like he came around and was watching, and then he pulled me aside. It's like, I'm struggling. Well, I saw that. Like, I was just letting you do that because if I stopped you in the moment, I think you're going to think that I'm an asshole. So I just let you do your thing and then let you come back and go, okay, I messed up. I should have listened. And then after that, he aced his test after that. And it's like, all right, we're good.
I was going to say it was probably the vinyl. Probably didn't go down good. It's probably the brand of vinyl. That's why she was struggling.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is that brand
or something?
Yeah, that
I was just laughing when she said it. I thought you were going to stop her. That was funny.
I didn't stop. I let her finish the whole story. Yeah, it was probably the vinyl. Probably didn't stick either.
That's funny. But
it was navigating a door handle. It wasn't even a vinyl. It was just an application process.
No, we know it was material.
It was definitely the material in that one.
I hope this makes it to. Should I say his name? I won't say his name in here. I hope he hears it.
Rodney?
Yeah. I hope he hears this. I really do.
But you said something earlier about females in the wrap industry. And I've always thought that car wrapping is more of a female job. And here's my thought, because females were made with more patience than guys. I mean, they're made 100%. To raise kids. We were too kind of, but like females have way more patience than guys have, just across the board. So I've always thought like the guys that rap must have a little feminine qualities. Because I can't do it. Like, I'm not nearly patient enough to do it. Like, I literally have to stop, focus, and I can do it for about 15 minutes at a time, and then I have to walk away because like I lose patience. Like, screw it, heat it up and stick it down.
I do think that you said it earlier, but the people I know on our side of the industry that have gone from zero to running very, very successful wrap shops, all the top 5 that I can think of all came from the car side of the industry, right? Some of them literally ran like physical, like maintenance shops, right? And then they just added that onto their business, or were into racing and then added wraps. So I think that is, so yes, I agree with that one. And then the second one is, I agree with the other option you said too. Like, I think people that are car minded and that aspect of it makes sense to them. I think it's an easy add-on for them.
Yeah, I think when you blend those two together, I mean, I could probably tell you right now that when she walks in and looks at a vehicle, she already knows what the pain points are. And I think that's kind of the rapper's mentality needs to have that. When they look at a vehicle, they already know stress point 1, 2, 3, they should automatically like just start seeing it and visualizing it.
They have this visualization. Like I always said, Chad has this. Like he knows what's underneath that vinyl. Like I have to walk around the other side of the car 17 times to go like, oh, that's where the molding is.
Yeah.
He knows. He can see, like, can you see through the vinyl? I think I've asked him before, like, and I think that any good rapper, like, it's almost like they can see through the vinyl and see that car underneath where not me. I walk around, by the time I walk back, I already forgot what I looked at.
I think even like
That's why you got one side of the car to look at.
Yeah, even when like you see them do like the speed wraps, like kind of at the show, like how comfortable they are with cutting the vinyl, right? When you're talking about like cutting on the car, where they will just know like where the drops are, right? So he just will like cut the knife, and he'd be like, "How did you know like the tire wasn't there? Like how do you guys? I can't see anything from my side." Just, no problem.
I do that, and I cut it 3 inches short. Now you got part of the car showing.
Well, it's like the Hexas battle board at SEMA. It's like you have like the belly and then you have the hole, right? So you have to make a small relief cut in the hole. Otherwise, you stretch it, the hole gets bigger, and then now you have like a relief cut in that channel. But it's having to know like what's your pregame. And that's why I like at Master Wrap, I talk about like pre-gaming. What are some things to speed up your installation process? And you do that before you pull the vinyl out, not when you're on the floor installing. Like you should know what you're doing before you start.
Yeah.
But yeah, and females are great. I also say people who have OCD or ADHD are really good candidates for installers. It like calms their mind. And OCD people are just like, make the perfect installation, especially for color change. You're like, wait, you wrapped a white fender and it looks like it's paint.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. So we've talked about it a few times, but what is Master Wrap, and kind of what is the goal, or who is this kind of aimed towards?
Okay, so Master Wrap is a beginner, not super fresh beginner. So let's say you know like squeegee etiquette, basically. You know how to hold a squeegee and that kind of stuff. So beyond that, so you say beginner to intermediate installers that want to perfect their craft in commercial van wraps, or we're launching our walls division. So basically just getting that. So they're paying for the $1 for 3 days of hands-on training. Curriculum is all online. So you're not wasting that 4 or 6 hours on the first day of just in-person curriculum. And then you're strictly just one-on-one with the instructor and making sure you get all your questions answered. And it's not the stress point of a certification, because with certifications, you got 1 day of training and then like to show the stations, and then you got to start testing. So it just removes that stress factor out. It just focuses on the installers and building them to be better installers.
And so the one that's currently running is the commercial fleet, correct?
Commercial vans.
So the whole class is on a van, right? There's no other vehicles in there. It's just learning the intricacies around doing vans, which I think is huge, because for most of the shops that we know now, that's like probably 80-90% of what they're doing right now is vans, right? So if you learn on that, I think a lot of the things will transfer into you doing, like Ford Escapes and other like commercial vehicles, but are actually residential vehicles. But the ideas behind it, even on how you trim them and what parts you wrap and what parts you don't wrap, all kind of transfer from one to one. I think color change may be a step above that, which is kind of how we've always said it. Even when we do our classes, when someone asks about color change, be like, well, that's not really our goal here, right? Because if we were going to cover that, most of you are never going to use any of these techniques, right? When we talk about how to cover the seams and all that stuff, most of you aren't going to need it, if we're being honest with you. So I think if that's the side of the business you want to get into, I think it's a great solution for that, for sure.
Yeah. So the way how we built the van curriculum, and when I say we, it's Arlon and WrapStar University. So when you do this Master Wrap van training, you're going to learn everything you need to know about channels. The 3 ways to do it. The one that fails all the time that we just talked about. So the deep recess, and then the cut and drops, and then inside first method. Most students walk away going, I'm doing cut and drop. Okay, well, you need to make sure you like communicate with your client sat, right? Yeah. That's important. They get to learn how to make relief cuts in certain areas that are not visible. So that top corner in the rear that people just want to add a whole bunch of primer and just shove it over and hope that it sticks, right? And it stays, it's not going to. So showing these techniques and certain things from the van training, it also applies to cars. So eventually we'll be launching a fleet division, which will have all types of rivets, the rear doors, like the roll up doors, the barn door styles, the hinges and stuff. And then that'll capture all of the commercial side of things. So they'll, when a student goes through all of the different programs, and they're going to come out knowing a lot for everything for commercial.
I've always said that I think the people that are just doing vehicles are just missing out if they're not even attempting to do walls and floors, because I think it's, especially now, walls seems to be, if you see a new business going up, they're putting wall graphics on them. Like I don't see any new buildings going up that don't have vinyl on the walls now. It's not just paint anymore. A lot of them are doing, like the stuff we have in here. That type of stuff where it's like, this is, they're trying to portray on their walls, this is who we are as a company, right? And if you're only doing vehicles, you're missing out on money and just ease of install, right? Walls compared to doing a vehicle, easier. And from everyone we've talked to, they're making more money doing walls than they are doing vehicles.
Even people that suck can do walls. Look at this place.
We talked about this before, so I agree. Yeah.
No cleaning, no nothing, no prep, no nothing.
No, we didn't prep the walls, clean the walls, nothing.
There's a bunch of holes in there. It'll cover it. Trust me.
It did. Look at it.
Look at this. You'll never know that this was never clean. We didn't patch holes, nothing.
No, we didn't cover the holes. Well,
even look at this table.
All the holes got covered by the sign anyways.
This table looks like a real table. It doesn't look like it's MDO.
Yeah, it's literally just plywood. That's all this is.
Yep.
So, but yeah, like that's the type of stuff where it's also just way easier to train someone to do walls and floors than it would be to do
Tyler
vehicles.
is our master rapper of everything.
Yeah, YouTube certified in heat and mash, dude. but like that's how easy it is, right? Like this isn't, I wouldn't pass this on but this is how simple, where you could put it on the wall and someone would walk by and be like, yeah, that looks good. And if you looked at it, and you see where I messed up on the trims, then you'd be like, you probably could use a little training. But for the most part, it's way easier than doing standard vehicles.
Yeah. And you're right. There's a lot of offices that are starting, doctors' offices. I've noticed that they're starting to put a lot of wallpaper up, all types of graphics and all that stuff.
Resurfacing film too. So, those are good.
Yeah, the hospitals are all doing this type of material now, like the Dynoc type stuff on cabinets and countertops, and even the fronts of where you would come to receptionist. That front area often is Dynoc now because they can clean it and replace it, and it gets dirty typically anyways from people feet on and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a huge part. So I think if you're just doing wraps now, that's something for sure you should look at doing. But to kind of transition here, so I view you currently as somebody who I feel like you're doing talks at shows and showing up in all sorts of places all the time. So I think you, at least I assume, are someone who views the importance of being connected in the industry as something that's important. So why do you think that's important? What do you benefit from kind of being connected and kind of trying to know everyone in the industry?
So I feel that networking is very important. I feel having those relationships within the industry is important, not only for yourself, but for your business or what it is that you do in the industry. So for me, I chose to go more the professional route. So I was more involved with Printing United and ISA than, let's say, WrapsCon, which is more the installer show. I made more industry connections at those shows by participating on Women in Print Alliance with Printing United, PDAA committee, writing for Big Picture magazine in for their journals. Being involved as much as I can, because I also needed to do that as a trainer. Because I was looking to be a trainer, and I gave myself a 5-year goal to be a trainer and have a training facility. You can't just open up a training facility and come. No one knows who you are. So you had to build those relationships. Also through the motorsports side of things, my previous business was media marketing. So a lot of it was finding sponsorships and getting drivers to get sponsorships. So for me, those networking things are very important. So before launching Master Wrap, I've had brands say, hey, we want to sponsor whenever you're ready to start your training program, let us know. And so when Master Wrap came together, Roland hopped on board. They're like, we're in, just let us know. Just
Yeah.
like we want to do it now. And I'm like, well, just give me like 6 months and we'll be ready. And then, then I have all my tool supporters and stuff, the people that support Master App. And that is all from networking. And when I do networking, I'm not here to ask you to pay me anything. I'm here to make sure that you make money. And I want everyone else in the industry to make money. So I don't need to get any kickbacks. It's not what I want. So when I get we're getting some more people on board for this year for Master App, and they're just like, wait, you don't want anything? I'm like, I just want to support you. And we become a partner of Master App that way.
Yeah. So I think about, I just saw, wow, why am I blanking on Ruggs' magazine? Rat Fam Unleashed.
Yeah.
So I just saw, they just put out in their last article basically all the training that's currently available for wrap training, right? It's like a 2-page spread of like little tiny logos, right? And it's just all of these trainings that are available. And I was just reading through the list and I was like, I bet I know like 3 of these people. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking like, as someone who feels like they know a lot of people on the wrap side of the business, and you're looking at this, like, I don't know who at least half those people are, if not more. Like, how are you filling a class? Are people feeling comfortable enough to pay you if like people don't even know who you are in the first place? Like that seems insane to me. And there's so many available options for training now. It's not like it was, I mean, like when did we start doing trainings? When is that? What is that? Do you know when that banner's from?
That banner is from 2016. The one that has like the who's who of the wrap industry. I think it was 2014 or 2016.
We have to look at it.
That was the first Arlon certification wrap class. Was at our facility, and it's literally who's who in the industry was at that class.
Yeah,
literally, like you read the names on that class, it's like, oh, geez.
That was before SLX came out.
Yeah, that was it was. I mean, we were wrapping crappy product. I mean, even that we wrapped that blue car.
Yeah,
in the old Arlon stuff that was like. Worse than the Orful stuff.
Wow.
So, I mean, but now but no, I've seen, WrapsCon from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And there's certain people that stuck around and there's certain people that were really big and just vanished. And a lot of times they vanished because they thought they got too good.
Yeah.
I could mention many names, but I won't. But there's a lot of names where like, they were like the top guy. And then all of a sudden they thought they were the top guy and they pretended to be the top guy and they just literally got wiped right out of the whole industry. And then there's other people I keep seeing come up. Like you're one that was coming up like, oh, this person's going to be somebody. Because you would see it and you just see it's the attitude that makes a difference. Like, are they willing to learn or do they just think they're better than everybody else?
Yeah.
And there's still some that stay at the top that still think they're better than everybody else, but they do a good job of promoting themselves. But for the most part, it's really like the humble people. Jim Miller's probably the most humble guy out of all that's just really, really good. He's just way faster than everybody else, I think.
He's got so many years on everybody.
I honestly think that if you put him and Dallas on any team, they win any contest. I don't think anyone beats those two. Ever.
It was when they did the WrapsCon, what was that? 3 years ago now?
I don't know when it was.
Two or 3 years ago now. Yeah, it was unbelievable. But I think that's kind of the point it feels like the wrap industry is at right now, where we have the original group that came through that kind of got it to where it is, especially with like how WrapsCon went. So Jim Miller and Dallas are 2 of the first names I would think of in that group. Chad.
I think Chad, the other group that could rival them in quality is if Chad and Andrew, I'm trying to think where he's in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
If those two teamed up together for quality, they might beat Dallas and Jim. Like those are the two. Like when I think of like, is it going to be perfect when it's done? Yes, those two are going to have it absolutely perfect.
Yeah, he won WrapsCon last year, right? Is that
second?
Oh, next to
he's never really won. Andrew never really won. Remember, you went home early a couple years too. We laughed at you.
Oh man.
But he's really good. This year. He was in that original Arlon class too.
Yeah.
Like, and then you just seen him progress, and now like. You just got to find someone that's equal to him to compete.
Yeah. But you just think about like I think we're at a point where it's that original group of people is kind of, they're slowly getting further and further out of the business. Like even Jim Miller obviously is still wrapping a lot of cars, but he has a crew with him too, right? Dallas is the same thing. I literally just talked to him not that long ago, and he's in the same boat. He's like, they don't, like, my team doesn't need me here, right? That was his joke. He was like, that's literally what he told me. He's like, my team doesn't need me here. He's like, obviously I can work, but they don't need me.
He is
anymore.
funny too, because when someone gets good and they think they're really good, then he has to jump back in and show them like, okay, it's me versus you. Let's see what happens.
But so I think we're at the point where it's like the second wave of people are coming through, and you're kind of trying to figure out who's going to take those spots, right? There's a lot of, when those people step out of the industry, there's gonna be big shoes to fill. Yeah. And I think we found that when Rugg stepped out of his role, I think there's big shoes to fill there. And I think people think it's like, oh, we can just put anyone in the spot. It's turning out to not be true.
Yeah. They're finding out in a hurry that Rugg's brought people to that show, and now the show's gonna die.
It's struggling for sure.
They listen to this too, so I apologize, but it's probably gonna die.
I think it has potential. That's where it's at. But I think what happened was exactly that. I think they thought it would just continue on as is, and it's not doing that. And I think there's so many people that love that show. Like, even when we were there last year, everyone kind of had the same sentiment, where it was like, this show is not doing well, but we do not want it to go away. So what do we need to do? And I think that's what the second wave of rappers is doing, is we're saying like, okay, we've been given this industry and these shows and all this stuff. Like, how do we get it from where it was, and maintain that going forward? And there's a certain group of people that are going to hopefully get us there, and hopefully we'll figure that out, because that's what it feels like.
I mean, like, I would just say Rugg's put in a lot of effort. He had those connections. He had that networking. He had that installer network. Yeah. Where, it's hard when one leaves and someone else fills the shoes and they don't have those connections. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Rugg's put me to work years ago it was a SEMA show, and they had that was when everybody would introduce their new colors, and we had to unwrap the cars at the end of the show, right? And he points to a car. I'm like, I'm not doing that one, Rugg's. He's like, why? I'm like, can I have the Avery or 3M car? Because it was Rit Rama came out with colors. I'm like, I'm not doing the Rit Rama. I'm not taking that off. Like, that's where you needing extreme heat. Like, it was stuck down. Like, you would take panels off with you. Not like paint would come off. The entire panel would come off as you're pulling.
Bolts and everything.
It's like Tech Wrap was like that back in the day.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like, he's like, do that one. I'm like, no.
So I gave that whole intro to kind of go in, like, as obviously there's people that we've known for a long time in the industry, but who kind of do you look up to, or who did you learn from when you were kind of getting started, at least? So
there was a couple local shops that I'd looked up to. One of them, it's crazy. It's like I looked up to him for, like, he had the coolest race car wraps designs. He was a designer. And I was like, man, that's a really cool style. Like, he's all into texture. So what I did, I would just study his work. And I would talk to him and be like, hey, I use Corel Draw. He uses Illustrator. So I'm like, I don't know if we can speak the same language, but I would ask for advice. He goes, oh, you do this, So I looked up to him, and the roles have changed a couple years ago. And I'm like, this is not supposed to be this way. So we're really good friends. There was another wrap shop called Palmer Science in my area. They're still thriving. And I looked up to them. They're like, well, hire you. I'm like, no, I have my own business. I was going through my divorce. So I was like, I can't do that. But just having those friendships with my competitors was really important. And everybody in the area was like, why are you being nice? Like, we all hate each other. I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, literally, like, if you need help, I can come help for you. Like, give you an extra hand. Like, or, hey, if your printer's down, come use mine. Like, I had a wrap shop, this is a buddy of mine, his Roland was down. So I said, here's the key to my shop. You can literally print whatever you want on my printer tonight. And that was just the type of person I was. But I had mentors. I had people I looked up to. Kevin Kempf was one of them, just from the social media side of things. So I was like, man, those designs are bitching. Like, that's a lot of work. Yeah. And so now we're really good friends.
What's his Instagram? I can't think of it. What's his?
PG Nola?
Oh, yeah, PG Nola.
Yeah. So he is probably the only one from the industry that stood out in the social media world for me back, 13 years ago. But now it's like, it's just, I'm friends with everybody, and networking is really great to be, say, hey, like, I struggle in this. They're like, hey, my employee struggles in this. Like, I don't have time to, what's your advice? So, like, when Kevin comes over to my shop every once in a while, like, I tell my team, it's a luxury to have Kevin here. Like, I don't think you guys realize who he is. Like, he changed one of my installers from propane to torches to heat guns. And I was like, I've been trying for years with this kid, but he works alongside Kevin, and Kevin's like, tells him, yep, you got to use a heat gun. And then I was like, man, that's awesome. So
yeah, I think the cool part with where the industry is going is I think the installation side has got so much easier in the last 4 years that design is becoming the only differentiator between one shop to the other, right? It's like anyone at this point can put vinyl on a car, right? Whether it goes on perfectly or not. But I think for the most part, it's gotten so simple that you can show anybody how to do it. But if you don't have that design background, like it is so hard to do. I mean, we think about it every time. Every time we design one for the wrap class, we think, I don't know how people do this. I've probably gone through 47 revisions to this one stinking wrap. It's awful. But that's what's kind of separates the greatest in the industry right now from the ones that are good, is that they
absolutely
put designs on vans that you're like, how did you come up with that? Like everything lines up so perfectly. It doesn't make any sense.
I think the old school one was Casey. I think he's in Oregon, and he did the original rust wrap, but he literally took pictures of the car and he knew the body lines. So when they wrapped it, like the rust was right on the body lines. Like I think he had a picture of his truck and then a truck that was all rusted out. And literally, it was perfect. When he did it, it was like the amount of time that took. Like that's another thing I can't do because I've been like, close enough.
Yeah.
And then the rust would have been coming down the windows and stuff.
It's like the back when Avery had their Wrap Like a King contest. And you're like, how there's thousands of hours and money. I was like, I'm not even going to compete against that. That's ridiculous. But they come out with some amazing stuff. So 2 years ago, WrapsCon, I was installing a GLARP design in the Oracle booth. And I have never touched a GLARP design before. So I was like, can you come show me before the show starts so I know what I need to do? And he's like, everything starts on the hood. I was like, oh, okay. Totally just like put me back to ground zero. And I was like, all right, well, I just need you to come by. Just kind of show me like how your wraps are supposed to be installed. But learning from his process, that show, I was like, oh, okay. Thinking as a designer standpoint for what I do, I'm like, that's awesome. Oh, I see how you did that trick. And it just was really cool how like you don't experience that unless you have it in your hands or you're with that designer.
Yeah.
Well, every day you're learning something new, right?
Absolutely.
That's what guys, before we leave today, I just wanted to ask you one quick question, and that is, what is a pirate's favorite application tape? R tape. R tape is the #1 application tape in the United States, and it comes with an RLA, which is a release liner adhesion, meaning it's going to stick to the liner. Even on cut graphics, if you roll it, it's not going to tunnel, wrinkle, or curl, or anything like that. So if you're looking for the best application tape for cut graphics out there, R tape RLA is for you, and you can get it at Wensco.com. I've said I've been really lucky to get to do a bunch of these wrap classes, right, with a bunch of different trainers. And I say every time I learn something different, and it doesn't mean the thing that I had learned before was wrong. It's just like, oh, this is not how I've seen it done before, and this makes perfect sense, right? Like, I'll have seen something explained, right? Like I had like the corners of hoods I've seen explained, like 100 times on how you cut them. And then Charlie Trudeau, I took his Avery class, and he explained it. I'm not kidding you. It might've been 5 seconds. He's just like, he's like, he explains it, draws the diagram with a Sharpie on there or on an expo marker on the van. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, it's just our brains must align. That's probably how it works, right? The way he explained it, my brain goes, oh yeah, why didn't anyone else ever explain it this way? And that doesn't mean any of the other ones were wrong, right? I'm sure that everyone else thought the same thing. Like when Chad explains it and everyone's just like, oh yeah, makes sense. And he just shows you and you're like, oh, perfect. Great. But there's so many good installers out there, and there's so many ways you can do the same thing, and you won't know until someone like physically shows you in person. So I think that's what's cool about training. And yeah, why you should come out and do in-person
I have
training.
one question for you. Have you ever had a class where you just took a student and just said, you need to keep at this because you're really good. You just don't know it.
Yeah, I've taught a couple of those.
Okay.
I mean, from all the different classes I've taught, and even whether they're just showcases or workshops. I always let them know, like, you're going to do really good. Like you've got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all new talent.
Is there the opposite?
Yeah,
like,
where you go,
like, listen,
dude, you need to go back to McDonald's.
Probably go work at McDonald's.
I don't want to be rude and say that, but I'm just, you need some extra practice.
Frank, you're listening, Frank.
Yeah,
George. They're the ones I give all the extra vinyl to. You should take take this all home and practice more with it.
So if she sends you home with a bunch of extra vinyl.
Yep.
That's a hint.
Basically, time to go to McDonald's.
All right. Well, we got a meeting we got to get to. So,
Okay.
Kristin, thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming out. And hopefully we'll have a good wrap class the next couple days. And if you guys are interested in taking training, Wensco will have some. Arlon will have some as well, and Arlon will have certification as well, which I think you've helped with as well. So
Yeah, do just about anybody's training. Just don't do the Orful one. It's not worth it. Does that work?
just know it's all out of love.
It's all out of love. Yeah.
I think
Please call.
Josh is going to be excited to hear that.
Yeah.
That I worked over here.
Yeah.
He is. He probably is.
He is. He's fired up about it.
Let's
So-
put some confetti on top of that, and we'll know.
Yeah.
So,
Tell people where to find you too, to watch your videos and stuff.
Yeah. Where's your?
yeah,
give
where can we
your
find
social media.
Wait, what video? What? Sorry, I couldn't.
where can we find you on social media?
Oh, social. Oh, sorry. Social media is K Lanzarone or Master Rap.
Spell it out for the listeners.
Well,
Zeroni.
like
Hector
I'll get all the
Zeroni?
jokes that they're
Hector
Macaroni and
Zeroni.
macaroni. So it's KLANZARONE.
Oh,
It's on her arm.
that's not like
For the
Hector.
audio.
That's not like Hector Zeroni from the Holes.
No, and there's Master Rap. So
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you again.
Thank
and
you.
If you
Thanks for
hopefully you
coming.
guys enjoyed the
Thank you.
episode, and we'll see you next time. So.
Yeah.
Bye.